Hello everyone, my name is Josiah, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about one of the movies that I watched recently that I thought was really relatable as a Christian. Hey guys, like I said in the intro, my name is Josiah, and in today's video I wanted to talk about 4 Good Days. This movie is directed by Rodrigo Garcia, and it stars Mila Kunis and Glenn Close as it tells the story about a young woman named Molly who has been addicted to drugs for most of her life and enlists her mother to help her get clean. This movie is based off a true story, and to get my thoughts about the movie out of the way real quick, I thought it was a great movie. There was a lot of great performances, as well as a lot of good practical effects. You know, Mila Kunis is usually someone that's seen as being really healthy and like a really attractive woman, but in this movie they really made her look like somebody that has been addicted to drugs for many years. You know, with the makeup and the effects of her teeth to make them look kind of like rotted and deteriorated. But there was one scene in particular that made me see how relatable this movie is for everyone. There's a scene where Molly and her mother go to the doctor to look at their options for treatment, and the doctor mentions this new thing that they could try, which is a shot that she would receive every single month, and it would nullify all the effects of drugs in her body to where she can't get high. But the thing is that she has to be clean for 1 week, and at this point in time she had already been clean for 3 days, which gives her 4 days left. And going through all this, the doctor really asks Molly what her triggers are that makes her resort to taking drugs to cope with them. And she said loneliness, shame, anxiety, and boredom. And it was at this moment that I really started to think about these 4 emotional states and how I relate to them as a Christian myself. Because even as a Christian, I still feel boredom and loneliness and anxiety and shame at different times in my life. There's this passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, it's verse 13, and it pretty much says that that we'll never be tempted with anything that isn't uncommon to man. God won't allow us to be tempted with something that's more than what we can handle. And in those moments, He will provide us with a way of escape. Now, these 4 emotions aren't sinful in and of themselves, but they do leave us emotionally compromised, and that opens the door for temptation. But in that passage, that passage reminds us that God's never going to allow us to be tempted with more than what we can handle. Yes, we're going to feel loneliness and shame and anxiety and boredom, but they'll never be so much. They'll never be so overwhelming that we have to give in to these things. He's always going to provide a way out for us to navigate and manage these emotions without falling into addictions and other forms of bondage. But I think the coolest thing about that is, even if you've fallen into addiction, even if you did give in to your emotions and you made some poor choices in those times, there's still hope. I was also thinking about this other passage in Ecclesiastes that pretty much says that there is nothing new under the sun. Anything that's happening right now in your life or in my life or in the world has happened before, and it's going to happen again. In regards to this movie, Molly being addicted to drugs, she's not the only person that's ever been addicted. And, unfortunately, she's probably not going to be the last person that's addicted. And, that's encouraging in a way, that there's other people out there that have gone through what she's gone through and what you've gone through that are able to help you to get through what you're going through right now. And, there's a scene in the movie where Molly, she goes to a high school and she's talking to these kids about, the effects of drugs, how it's affected her life, how she lost custody of her kids and ruined her relationships, and how her mom doesn't trust her because she's lied to her so many times and have stolen so many things from her. Her mother at one point mentions how she stole and pawned off her grandmother's engagement ring and one of her wedding rings. And Molly was just so shocked. Like she honestly didn't even like realize or even remember that she even did that. That's how much and how long as she's been doing this. And I think that there's a lot of times that a lot of people, including Christians, have this perception that Christians are perfect or they're impervious to their emotions, and that their emotions are a bad thing, which when reality is that they're not. That we are still human beings, and we are going to have times where we're in our feelings, in our emotions. But it's in those times that we can. It's in those times that we can be encouraged and trust that we're not alone in those times. Because not only is God there with us in those situations, but there's also people around us that can help us get through it. Well, guys, those are all my thoughts on the movie. I strongly recommend you check out 4 Good Days. It was a really great film, and maybe you'll find different ways that you've related to the film. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.